Betty, I'm fine when you talk about the city. I know you're talking about Kisumu City because I always ask you about the capital city. Kisumu City is fine, fairly warm tonight, and just a matter of me being ready to do the needful.
All right, Willis. You remember last week you really shocked us with quite a number of words. I remember one of it was the word that we know as customs, but you talked to us and you told us it's actually customs. So that's something I've been thinking about. Customs, yeah. All right, Willis, so before we get into it, let's just listen to Word on the Street. This time round, what is it that Kenyans had to struggle to say? Let's look at that.
Contemporaneous. 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 Contemporaneous.
Contemporaneous. Contemporaneous.
Contemporaneous. Contemporaneous.
Contemporaneous. Contemporaneous.
Contemporaneous. Contemporaneous.
Contemporaneous. Contemporaneous. Contemporaneous.
Contemporaneous. Contemporaneous. Contemporaneous.
Contemporaneous. Contemporaneous. Contemporaneous.
Contemporaneous. Contemporaneous. Contemporaneous.
Contemporaneous. Contemporaneous. Contemporaneous.
Wow, Willis. You know this Word on the Street segment. I mean, if you haven't laughed the whole week, you can be sure that you'll crack a rib this time. All right, Willis. So, as you say, it's not good to laugh.
Laughing to learn, Betty, as usual. Laughing
to learn. It's laughing to learn. So, I won't even try to pronounce it because, honestly, I don't even know. So, let me not even embarrass myself here. So, I'll just give it to you. How do we pronounce that word? Too complex.
Betty, I may be wrong, but I know you are remembering what happened last week with that word onomatopoeia. When you see this long word for this week, onomatopoeia, you remember we had so many versions or varieties of, what people could say on the street. But whichever way, some of these words are tricky.
Yeah.
I always say they can be tricky for those people on the street or whoever is in the street, but sometimes also, even if you take it to, people who have good education, it may also be a problem because systems, are mostly concentrating on grammar and vocabulary, but not pronunciations. But the word for tonight, Betty, it's contemporaneous. Contemporaneous, not contemporaneous. There is one lady who in fact, got it right.
Yeah.
There is one lady who got it right on the street, but many people also said things which are close to that word. They are close to the word, but they are not the correct or accurate pronunciations. So you say contemporaneous. That is that which happens or exists at the same time. Contemporaneous.
Contemporaneous. All right, Willis. Even my guest here in studio is just giggling at the thought of that word because it's very difficult. But at least you've talked to us about it. Moving on to this other word. Now, this one is one that we have been talking about for the last couple of days. And I also saw you being tagged on a conversation on Twitter about this word. And, it's Supreme Court, and then the NASA leader said Supreme. And, his supporters said that, whatever Baba says remains. But let's just learn the correct one. So is it Supreme or Supreme Court?
That one, the supporters and those people who are responding or reacting to what the NASA leader said, I think they were trying to, crack a joke or to say it in jest that whatever Baba says is always correct. But you see, it could be a case of the slip or a slip of the tongue.
Yeah.
It could also be out of emotion, or it could also out of, fatigue and so many other issues. As I always say, nobody is perfect. But this word, Betty, you say su or siu. Supreme or supreme, not supreme. Supreme, no. Supreme. You don't say supreme, you say supreme, but you can also say supreme. Like when we talk about the court, and court is not court, Cot is C-O-T, like the baby cot.
Yeah.
So if you say Supreme Court, you are also talking about something else. You say Supreme Court, court with a long vowel sound O, but the keyword supreme or supreme.
Willis, that one is something else. Supreme. I mean, I think even if I said that, nobody will even understand what I'm talking about. Supreme Court. I think I'm going to be using that
What happens,
forward.
Betty?
Yeah.
What happens to us locally is sometimes what we think we know maybe something that we know the wrong way. But some of the pronunciations, like the alternatives, are not commonly used locally. Do you remember when I talked about issue and issue? Then I went further to tell people about tissue and tissue. Tissue is very rare locally. And somebody would say, what? Are you serious? But get it from me, Betty, you can say also tissue. Tissue. You can say that.
All right.
So supreme, supreme. Super and super. Sue and to see you, somebody. Those are alternative pronunciations that some of them may not be very, very common locally, or we hardly use them, or if you may like, we rarely use them locally. But they're acceptable in standard English.
Wait, Willis, did you also say super, like super petrol, like super, like
S-U-P-E-R, S-U-P-E-R. You say super, but you can also say super. Super.
Right.
That one is also acceptable. If you do a bit of research, and that is serious research, you'll discover that you can say super or super, but don't say supper and super.
No.
Supper, that is S-U-P-P-E-R, is strictly supper.
Okay. All right, Willis. Senator, I don't know if you knew that you can say super, like super senator.
No, I never knew that.
And tissue, you can also say tissue instead of tissue.
No, I never knew it.
Willis, you've really tickled my guest here in studio. But moving forward, and shocked me as well, Willis, with the words that you're talking about. So, Supreme Court. Okay. Moving on to this other word, Willis.
Yes, supreme or supreme.
Supreme. Willis, there's this other word we've been hearing and talking about. Do you say respondent, respondent? Which is which, Willis?
We have a primary stress, Betty, on that word, on the second syllable.
Yeah.
Pondent. So you say respondent. The respondent has filed A, B, C, D.
Okay.
The respondent. Can you get that?
Yeah, so it's not
respondent.
Respondent, no? That can't work?
Respondent, that is, it sounds normal locally.
Yeah.
But when you're going for the accurate pronunciation of that word, Betty, it's respondent.
Respondent.
The respondent and respondent. That is in court.
Okay, Willis, got it. You really shock us, Willis. You've come back with a bang, a serious one, since elections. Moving on to this other word, Willis, and I'll spell it out.
It happens, Betty.
It happens. It happens. Okay, I'll spell this one out. M-I-A-S-M-A, miasma, or miasma. Is that the correct pronunciation?
Those are acceptable or alternative pronunciations for that word.
All right.
You can say miasma or miasma.
All right. Miasma or miasma. At least that one, I wasn't too far off. Willis, what about this word? E-L-U-S-I-V-E. Elusive win. Which is which, Willis?
You say elusive. Elusive. Not elusive, not elusive. 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 Yes, that way.
Okay, Willis. I was wrong on that.
Yes.
The way I have been pronouncing it. At least now I know. Moving on to this other word. Do we say presumption? That P. Do we like Do we like say it, like announce it? Presumption. Which is which, Willis?
That word, Betty, is from the verb presume. To presume.
To presume.
Then you say presumption. Presumption.
Okay.
assumption, consumption, resumption. I hope you are getting what I'm talking about.
100%.
Presumption, consumption, resumption, assumption. Yes.
All right, Willis, got it. This other word that I have on my list tonight, Willis, visualize. Visualize, as in which is which, Willis? How do we go about that correctly?
What we have to avoid, especially in careers of serious communication, like, Betty, we are going to see some fireworks. I'm saying fireworks when it comes to language in the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
When we are going to have the arguments, that is where language helps you a lot. When you're using the right language, standard language, you deliver the intended message very clearly and effectively. This is where, when we're talking about this word, visualize, you may hear somebody saying, visualize, visualize. When you say visualize, you may realize that your audience may be attracted to what or the way you are saying that word instead of understanding what you're communicating or what you are saying to them.
Yeah.
This is where we have to understand that that letter S takes what we call the voiced sound j. You say visualize.
Visualize.
Visualize. You say visual, visually, visualize.
All right.
So you don't say visualize. Don't also say visualize.
All right.
It is j. Very tricky, just like casual, not casual.
Got it. But sometimes, you know, Willis,
yes.
it's the mother tongue that, interferes, and then, you can't quite say words, certain words, like, from Kamba language, sometimes, we have a problem, with H, so sometimes, it's not that you don't know, but
yeah, as I always say, Betty, when it comes to pronunciations, that is in terms of standard pronunciation of English words, don't be too hard on somebody, because some people are not even in careers of serious communication. But as we're talking about first language or mother tongue influence, if it is too strong, Betty, you may even go to Oxford, you may be at Harvard, you may go to maybe the best universities in the world, but still when you come out, you may not say the words correctly. It can be very bad for you if you are in a career of serious communication, like in law or legal practice. As a teacher, you may say what students may not understand. Like you want to talk of a bank teller, then the first language influence or mother tongue influence makes you say terra instead of teller. You want to talk of miller, maize miller, then you talk of maize mirror. It can be a bit confusing, especially when it comes to dictation or verbal communication.
Willis,
visualize.
Visualize it is. All right. And Willis, in your explanation, you also mentioned the word deliver. So does it mean we don't say deliver, like deliver, delivery? We say deliver?
Deliver, no. Deliver, no. You deliver. And don't say deliver. No, you say deliver. Deliver, to deliver.
Deliver, okay. Hey, Willis, right, you're not joking. I even feel like, you need a chalkboard or something. Not jokes tonight.
Sometimes it's important to get things right, Betty.
Important, very important. All right, Willis, continuing.
Important or important?
I prefer important. All right, Willis, wow, time is really running out. But let's continue. And I have this other word. Do we say forefront, like forehead? How do we go about that one, Willis?
Betty, I believe that will be a surprise to you and many people.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You say forefront, not forefront. Front is even front in pronunciation. The spelling is F-R-O-N-T, but you say front, not front. I know that is a surprise to you. So this word is forefront, not forefront, not even forefront, the way some people say it. So it's front.
All right.
Front line, in front, forefront. There are many people who know about it, but so many people would find it to be a surprise.
Well, you know, sometimes Willis, even talking to you is so hard, you know, some fear because I just don't know where I'm going to go wrong. But
don't fear. Never fear to make a mistake. Nobody is perfect.
Yeah.
Just be concerned about getting it right. Betty,
yes.
I always tell people something, that you will never get anybody who knows everything in English or any other language, because languages are very wide.
Right. Okay, Willis, okay. But sometimes I just get the goosebumps just saying some certain words that I'm not sure. So, yeah, so forefront.
Take it easy. Take it easy, my dear sister.
All right, let me take it easy. Willis, moving on to our feedback question. This one comes from Edwin Omari of Kenyatta University. University or university? University, I think.
University.
Yeah.
University. Not ziti. Adversity. Diversity, university. That one, you've made me even to use a Kiswahili word, hiyo. Hiyo, varsity, weka kando.
Weka kando.
You get what I mean?
Sawa.
Ziti, weka kando.
Kabisa.
Yes.
Haya.
City.
University. Got it, Willis. So, Edwin from...
yes.
Yeah. Kenyatta University is asking about this word, D-O-U-H... Yes. Sorry, D-O-U-G-H. Not H, H. So how do we go about that one, Willis?
Oh.
Duff, dough?
That is dough, not duff. If you say duff, you may end up saying duff nut for donut. D-O-U-G-H is dough. Dough. Then you have donut. Donut, not duff nut.
Okay.
I'm talking about Edwin Omari of KU or Kenyatta University. I think he also sent something like a chauffeur and rendezvous. Rendezvous. Remember, you can also say rendezvous or rendezvous and rendezvous. But that is in American English. Yeah. In the British English, you say rendezvous or rendezvous. Rendezvous. Yeah. That is, but remember this word also is from French. So French speakers may have a pronunciation that may be slightly different from what is used in English. Okay. Rendezvous. And we also have chauffeur. Then Martha Makoha of Busia, you say bizarre. Not bizarre incident. Bizarre. Josh Ondieki and Boaz Onchwari of Huduma Kisi, I think this is Huduma Kenya Kisi, you say tenya, not tenua, not tena, tenya. That is T-E-N-U-R-E. And you also say brochure or brochure. Don't say brochure. Brochure, no. Lady Justa M, you say awry. Things went awry. Roger Habimana of Rwanda, you say inaugural. Mashanga KK, you say elite or elite. You can also say elite. What you should avoid is elite. Yes. Elite, no. And we also say twilight, not twilight. Twilight, not twilight. Right. Job Mushoki, you say skeptical. Patricia Mwita of Kehancha, you say comrade. Betty, you must have heard people talking of comrade. Yeah. We don't have such a word in English. It's comrade. C-O-M-R-A-D-E. Zakina Mohammed of Mombasa, unscrupulous. Not unscrupulous. Unscrupulous.
All right.
Elijah Mugo, peril. Wambua Caxton of Kitui, possess. Don't say possess. Possessed, possession. Then Joseph Wanga of Kisi Hotel, you say management, not management. Management, no. Management. Yeah. Then we go straight to our surprise word for tonight, Betty.
Right.
Many people find themselves talking of rearmost. Rare, no. You say rearmost. Rearmost, not rare. Rearmost, just like rear guard. A rear guard action, not rear guard. You also say rearward, not rearward. What is confusing in this case, Betty, is R-E-A-R and R-A-R-E. When you talk of Rare,
yes.
That is R-A-R-E, and I've decided to put a transcription there for people who may be understanding the phonetic transcriptions. R-A-R-E, rare. But R-E-A-R, you say rear.
Rear.
Rear,
okay.
Not rare. Then finally, we have confusing words. And I know, Betty,
yes, actually,
the word below must be really trending, if I may use that word.
Actually, this is one of the words, Willis, that many people have asked to ask you.
Yes, but I brought it for people to understand it clearly. When we have C-E-S-S-A-T-I-O-N, you say cessation, cessation, or cessation.
Cessation.
Cessation. We are talking about, the stopping of something. Like when we have skirmishes or hostilities, you talk of the cessation of hostilities and all that. The stopping or having a pause in something. But when we have the lower word, that is a word which has really, been used by many people this week in this country. S-E-C-E-S-S-I-O-N. This is a word that is derived from the verb secede, to secede.
Yeah.
That is to leave or break away from a larger organization, a country, or whatever you may think about. If you are breaking away from a country to become independent, don't say cessation. That is not a cessation. Cessation is the upper word.
Yeah.
The lower word from secede is cessation. Cessation. So if you talk of cessation, you may be confusing people, or you may not be delivering the correct message. Breaking away from an organization or a country, that is cessation, from the verb secede.
Cessation.
Anything else from your side, Betty?
I mean, Willis, it's been so heavy. I think I'm good for the next 7 days. Now that you said
Let
that
English
we say
be
Supreme, Supreme Court. So even in our coverage here at KTN News, I think we'll just say Supreme Court. All right, yes. Willis. I think I like the more complicated one, Supreme Court it is. All right, Willis. Always great to...
so that you sound unique.
Yes, you have to sound, unique and, a bit of swag here and there.
Allow me to tell you something today about language. Any language is about communication. The essence of any language is communication. When you try to sound very unique, to the extent that maybe the word or a word like company, you say company. A word like happen, you say happen. That is swallowing the words. You may be mesmerizing your audience instead of communicating with them. So let us always be keen on getting the sounds right in words, using good grammar, and also knowing the choice of words. Like now, contemporaneous. Contemporaneous. If you're going to talk to a primary school kid or a primary pupil, you start talking about contemporaneous, you are using what we call bombast.
Bombast.
A word that that child may not understand.
Right.
You have to adjust your language so that you achieve the essence of communication using any language.
All right.
That is enough, Betty.
Wow. Couldn't have been said better. Willis, the word master, thank you very much for the lessons and the correct pronunciations that we've heard from you tonight. Remember, if you want to ask him more questions, I'm seeing quite a number on my Twitter handle. We can't cover all of them. You can tweet him at Willis Ochieng1, or that's on Twitter, to talk to him then. Or you can just choose to wait for Friday briefing or for every Friday lesson here on KTN News. All right, so for now, we want to continue with our coverage, and we're coming back shortly to look into some sporting action, but also remember that I still have my guest here in studio. All the questions that you had put on my Twitter handle that you wanted me to put out to him, I'll be doing that shortly here on the show. So we'll take a short break. We're coming back to continue with sports. Don't go away.
This is KTN News.
Wacha hii magavana tuwapatie wiki chache hapo, kila mtu waseto, tuitane, sasa tuseme haya, shida ilikuwa wapi? Turekebishe kama binadamu.